Tonight, find out how Governor Hochul is using prizes like fishing and hunting licenses to get New Yorkers vaccinated.
A community outreach event in Oswego put on by a local charity focused on fighting drug addiction.
And updates on coronavirus cases in Oswego County following the first detection of the Omicron variant in the U.S.
WTOP 10 Nightly News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to WTOP 10 Nightly News. I'm Damon Fletcher.
And I'm Megan Gagno.
The first confirmed case of the Omicron coronavirus variant in the United States was detected earlier today. Identified in California, the case was found in a fully vaccinated individual traveling from South America on November 22nd. The individual tested positive from COVID-19 on November 29th and is currently self-quarantining with mild symptoms. The World Health Organization designates Omicron as a variant of concern, but scientists are still working to determine more information, including how transmissible the variant is and how well vaccines protect against it.
Although there are currently no traces of the Omicron variant here in Oswego County, local cases are on the rise. The county reports 566 active cases with an added 464 residents testing positive since last week. 3 additional deaths related to COVID-19 were also announced. Health officials urge people to receive vaccinations and booster shots, which are available at various weekly clinics, including one every Wednesday at the Nick Stereo Public Health Clinic at 70 Bunner Street.
SUNY Oswego has been selected by the American Association of State Colleges and Universities to participate in a newly launched Transformation Accelerator cohort. The program, funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, is designed to support cohorts of institutions driven to close equity gaps and create for success to the BIPOC and low-income students. The TAC cohort will launch their project next fall as the campus begins their prepare phase.
The executive director of the Oswego Port Authority, William Scriber, has announced the opening of their grain storage facility. The facility will help local farmers around the area to ship their grain. The new facility will hold up to 22,000 metric tons of grain. Scriber also says it's going to significantly reduce greenhouse gases. About 100 farmers in the Oswego County and central New York have recently made their first deliveries using the Grain Export Enter.
The Desens House successfully hosted a community outreach winter warm-up event in the Washington Square to distribute winter wear and other various resources to 72 different community residents in need. The Desens House plans to extend these outreach events by providing a Nook room to assist community members looking to fight drug addiction. Fundraising efforts are now in place, and the House hopes to open this Nook room by spring of 2022.
New York City is now home to the nation's first overdose prevention centers. The 2 facilities offer medical care and services to reduce drug-related deaths. Victoria Manna went to visit one of them.
A historic moment here inside this building in East Harlem. It's one of 2 overdose prevention centers to open in Manhattan, making New York City the first in the nation to open supervised injection sites.
We are responding to the request of the community. We don't want syringes in the street. We don't want people exposed to many of what they've been exposed to. So we're opening our doors to create a safe space for folks to come in and have an opportunity to use safely.
The 2 centers are in East Harlem and Washington Heights. At each location, supervisors trained to respond to a drug overdose monitor users. The program also offers testing for fentanyl, a synthetic drug found in opioids that is responsible for many of the overdose deaths seen across the country. According to the mayor's office, the centers are an attempt to save lives by offering potentially life-saving treatment.
There's a lot of science showing that they do save lives. We know this from over 30 years of research across 100 overdose prevention centers that are operating on 3 continents right now. At the over 100 sites that already exist around the world, not a single overdose death has been reported.
I used to use, you know what I mean, and I didn't have no place to go. I didn't have no place to advocate for me.
Hiawatha Collins says he's been advocating for these sites for years.
This is a joyful moment, but it's such a sad moment also because we lost so many people waiting for this to happen.
Not everyone agrees with the city backing supervised drug use. On Tuesday, Congresswoman Nicole Maliotakis urged President Biden to halt Mayor de Blasio's plan, stating the centers encourage drug use and deteriorate quality of life. Collins asks those that oppose the sites to have an open mind.
Listen to the facts and think about if I had a loved one that was in need of assistance and they were refusing assistance, what would I want them to do? Would I want them to be in a corner or on the street using it alone, or would I want them to be in a safe place where if something happened that they could get help? Because people overdose and die from most of the time being alone.
Rivera says the facilities will promote a level of sobriety and will also have services available for people who want help beating addiction.
As the mayor of Rochester, Lovely Warren, prepares to step down a month early, an interim mayor prepares to take her place. Warren will resign at 11:59 tonight as part of a plea deal with the prosecutors after she pled guilty to a misdemeanor campaign finance charge. Prosecutors accused Warren and 2 assistants of attempting to evade monetary contribution limits during her 2017 re-election campaign. Deputy Mayor James Smith will finish Warren's term until the newly elected Malik Evans takes over in January.
Governor Kathy Hochul announced today that $5.7 million in federal funding is available to provide financial relief for New Yorkers' marine fishing industry. This funding is in addition to the $6.7 million provided by coronavirus and through the CARES Act to provide the marine fishing industry with COVID relief. Eligible seafood, commercial marine fishing, marine agriculture, and marine recreational for hiring fishing businesses are eligible to apply for funding starting December 1st.
According to Governor Kathy Hochul, the first 2,000 New Yorkers who received their first COVID-19 vaccine dose between December 1st and December 31st will be eligible to enter a random drawing. Individuals who receive their first shot within the time period will have an opportunity to win grand prizes such as a lifetime fishing and hunting license or other deluxe equipment. Hochul hopes that the introduction of the sweepstakes will bolster vaccination rates among New Yorkers who enjoy the great outdoors. Each entrant will be guaranteed a subscription to the DEC's Conservationalist magazine and a small tree seedling. Coming up later tonight, what the president of South Africa is saying about nations banning travel from his country.
And the major Supreme Court case that began today.
Now let's take a quick look at the weather with Storm Team 10 meteorologist Samantha Carlson.
Hi, so taking a quick look at the weather, it'll be gusty tomorrow. It'll be gusty tomorrow with getting worse in the afternoon, rain and snow showers for your weekend, and even heading into next week. I'll have more details on your forecast after the break.
Athletics, Aaron, there are 6 big points. This is the one you've been waiting for. This group has never beaten Cortland.
Getting started with some men's soccer as the Lakers had 2 conference matchups.
For half of the Lakers' goals this entire season.
Offense is key. You talked all about scoring goals.
Good evening and welcome to WTOP 10 Nightly News.
For the governor race with a strong lead, former Governor Andrew Cuomo is...
Barlow announced the completion of a large building mural in downtown Oswego.
The renovations on the Hewitt Union Building, turning it into the new Hewitt Hall.
And as we move into tomorrow, that rain is going to be in our area.
Moving to the Diamond now, as Sweet Caroline got a lot sweeter last night.
Life's taught me a lot, and I'm ready for more.
Well, you're not the typical kind of candidate that I hire, but you are exactly what I'm looking for.
Your company could be missing out on the candidates it needs most. Learn how to find a great pool of untapped talent at gradsoflife.org.
We've been marinating chicken in all sorts of liquids for 24 hours. These are vitamins and minerals and things that you need, nutrients. The chicken speedy is a staple of our culture.
Welcome back. I'm Storm Team 10 meteorologist Samantha Carlson. And before we head into the weather, a quick on this date in weather history. Back in 1996, there was a strong winds coming in from a cold front, and in Niagara Falls, the winds actually toppled over a 60-foot Christmas tree that was out on display. So all the time and hard work that it took to put up that Christmas tree, and the wind just knocked it over. But also in Clymer, the winds were so strong it blew out windows, it blew off a garage door, and it even knocked down a fence. So definitely not a good way to start out the Christmas season. But back to current day, looking outside across the state, temperatures are in the 30s for most parts of the state, and maybe some 40s out on the island. Back here in Oswego, the temperature is around 35 with showers out around the area, and even some breezy conditions out, about 7 to 15 miles per hour. So it's going to feel a little bit colder than that because of the winds. Heading into tomorrow, the morning starts out warm and gets warmer throughout the day, but so do showers also increase, and the winds get gustier. So up to 40, 50 mile per hour wind gusts throughout your day. So definitely need to bundle up tomorrow and make sure you stay warm and hidden from the strong winds. Speaking of winds, there's a wind advisory tomorrow starting around 1 p.m. and it ends around 10 at night. So just be aware from down to Jamestown and up to Watertown, all by the lake, going to be experiencing strong winds. Things outside that's not secured could topple over, and possible power outages. So just keep that in mind when going about what you need to do. For your 7-day forecast, it seems to be a little bit gloomy with rain and snow showers possible. Warmer ending the week, but getting a little bit cooler as the week goes on with showers and possible chances of snow for your weekend. So it's going to be a rainy week. Make sure you have your coat, your rain jacket, and possibly your winter boots. And back to the break.
This job looks perfect. It says you need a high school diploma. You've got one of those, right?
Skip the drama. Get your diploma.
I got that.
Find free adult education classes at finishyourdiploma.org.
Major Discussions is the new show that explores the stories of students right here on campus. I personally came here to SUNY Oswego for the broadcasting program because I love to hear people's stories and to do work just like this.
Welcome back to WTOP 10 Nightly News. The federal jury for the trial of Ghislaine Maxwell heard testimony from a woman going by the pseudonym Jane. Jane is the first of 4 women who are expected to testify in the court about the sexual abuse they experienced from Maxwell and Epstein. She told jurors that she was 14 years old when Maxwell and Epstein introduced themselves to her at an arts and music camp in Michigan.
It is widely seen as the most important abortion rights case to reach the Supreme Court in decades. The 9 justices heard arguments Wednesday around a Mississippi abortion law that bans the procedure after 15 weeks and appeared to lean toward upholding the law while leaving uncertainty about the landmark precedent, Roe v. Wade. Karen Kafel reports from Washington.
A case around a Mississippi law that bans most abortions after 15 weeks, giving the conservative majority Supreme Court a chance to revisit and perhaps repeal the constitutional right to an abortion established by the 1973 decision in Roe v. Wade and reaffirmed in 1992 in Planned Parenthood v. Casey. Mississippi Solicitor General Scott Stewart making his argument clear.
This court should overrule Roe and Casey and uphold the state's law.
A federal appeals court blocked the Mississippi law on grounds it violates Roe's precedent, legalizing abortion nationwide prior to viability around 23 to 24 weeks. Justice Sonia Sotomayor challenging Stewart on why the court would revoke that right now.
15 justices over 50 years have, or I should say 30 since Casey, have reaffirmed that basic viability line.
Justice Clarence Thomas pressed Julie Rickleman, who argued against the law on behalf of the only licensed abortion clinic in Mississippi, on what in the Constitution protects the right to an abortion.
Is it privacy? Is it autonomy? What would it be?
It's liberty, Your Honor. It's the textual protection in the 14th Amendment that a state can't deprive a person of liberty without due process of law.
A decision in the Mississippi case is expected next spring. In Washington, I'm Karen Kafel.
The Supreme Court has signaled to be in favor of the Mississippi law and may even go further to the national level.
The federal government is nearing a complete shutdown as they struggle to finalize a stopgap measure before funding runs out on this Friday. In order to avoid this shutdown, the 100 senators would need to agree to schedule a vote before this Friday deadline hits. It is still not clear when a deal will be reached and when the House and the Senate will vote. As of this evening, congressional leaders still do not have an agreement on the stopgap resolution to keep the federal government open past Friday.
Democrat Stacey Abrams announces her run for governor, setting the stage for a possible rematch with incumbent Governor Republican Brian Kemp, who narrowly beat Abrams in 2018. Her entrance into the race keeps the political spotlight on Georgia, which has become one of the most competitive and closely watched states in the union. Abrams has emerged as a vocal voting rights advocate on the national stage and represents for some a possible future of the Democratic Party.
Honduras elected their first female president this past Sunday. Xiomara Castro is expected to govern as a centrist with the desire to lift Honduras poor while attracting foreign investment. Castro describes Hondurans' emigration in terms of flight to escape inequality, poverty, corruption, and violence. A potential anti-corruption mission returning back to the Hondurans can likely begin to tackle the country's most profound problems.
Meta, formerly Facebook, says it has evidence that Belarusian KGB is using fake accounts, posing as journalists, causing a rise in tensions surrounding the crisis at the border between Belarus and Poland. These fake personas posted criticisms of Poland in English, Polish, and Kurdish, using pictures and videos of Polish border guards allegedly violating migrants' rights. Meta has identified and removed 41 Facebook accounts, 4 Instagram accounts, and 5 Facebook groups linked to the Belarusian KGB.
South African President Cyril Ramaphosa calls for the reversal of the travel bans that have been currently in place to combat the spread of new Omicron variant. He says that the restrictions are unjustified. He also adds that these travel restrictions will just cause further damage to affected countries and gravely affect their ability to respond to and recover from the pandemic.
The people of Africa cannot be blamed for the immorally low level of vaccinations available to them. nor should they be collectively punished for identifying and sharing crucial science and health information with the world. With a virus that is truly borderless, travel restrictions that isolate any one country or region are not only deeply unfair and punitive, they are ineffective.
The World Health Organization and Secretary General Antonio Guterres are also in favor of reversing these travel bans. Coming up, we'll have sports with Jake Johnson.
Jake, can you give us a quick preview?
Yeah, the Lakers, they took to the court yesterday in some battles for Central New York and an absolute thriller in the Dome. Did the Orange come out on top? Stay tuned for more right here on WTOP 10 Nightly News.
We've been marinating chicken in all sorts of liquids for 24 hours. These are vitamins and minerals and things that you need, nutrients. The chicken speedy is a staple of our culture.
Of all the things you've done with your bike, donating it to Goodwill may be the most incredible of all. Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs.
Good evening and welcome to WTOP 10 Nightly News.
For the governor race with a strong lead, former Governor Andrew Cuomo is...
Barlow announced the completion of a large building mural in downtown Oswego.
The renovations on the Hewitt Union building, turning it into the new Hewitt Hall.
And as we move into tomorrow, that rain is going to be in our area.
Moving to the Diamond now, as Sweet Caroline got a lot sweeter last night.
Welcome back to WTOP 10 Nightly News. I'm Jake Johnson. Well, the Oswego State women's basketball team tipped off with the Red Dragons of Cortland. The Lakers came into the game 500 on the season, sitting at 3-3. The Red Dragons, they came in 3-2 and looking to grab a SUNYAC W. The Lakers, they started off really slow and were outscored 18-6 in the first quarter. Cortland would maintain that pressure throughout the game and would win by 14, 67-53. For the Lakers, Danielle Shavana led the scoring with 23 points, and for Cortland, Corinne Mydrick had 16, but 3 other Red Dragons were in double figures. The Lakers moved to 3-4 and will play Buffalo State on Friday in Maxiel Gymnasium. Moving on to the men's side, just after that game concluded, the men, they took on the Red Dragons. The Lakers come in just a week after their loss to Nazareth after Jeremiah Sparks missed a game-winning 3 at the buzzer. Tonight was a very different story. Oswego would dominate both halves and come away with an important SUNYAC victory, winning 69-44 over the Red Dragons. Brendan Molson joined the 1,000-point club for the Lakers with a 7-point performance. The Lakers were led in scoring by Devin Green, who had 20, followed by Julian Crittenden, who had 14. Cortland was led by Eric Andrews with 12. The Lakers will also play Buffalo State this Friday at 7:30 in Maxiel. The United Soccer coaches released their picks for the all-region team. The Oswego State men's soccer team had 2 players on that list. Both Brian Terra and Caleb Munsky were both named to the all-region team, and Terra, he earns a spot on the all-region first team by way of a 1.35 goals against average, 69 saves, and 4 shutouts. The goalkeeper was first-team All-SUNYAC this year and third-team in 2019. Caleb Munsky anchored the defense that allowed just 1.8 goals per contest and held opponents to 12.3 shots a game. Munsky had 2 goals this season, both off of a penalty kick, and he was second-team All-SUNYAC in this year and 2019. The Lakers ended their season in the SUNYAC Championship against Cortland, but upset both New Paltz and Oneonta in the playoffs. Huge congratulations to both those guys. Now, let's move about 45 minutes down the road to Route 481 to the Dome. The annual Big Ten ACC Challenge was here, and it proved why it's such a challenge. The Syracuse Orange took on the Indiana Hoosiers from the Big Ten. Indiana came in 6-0, while Cuse was coming off a tough tournament down in the Bahamas, where they went 1-2, losing to Auburn and VCU, but they did get a win against Arizona State. This game began red hot for the Orange. They commanded the first half and were up by 16 at halftime. But like we've seen from the Orangemen this season, the second half was a struggle. They fell apart and regulation ended all knotted up. After the first OT, it again was tied. But at the end of the second overtime, it came down to Joe Girard and his free throws. He nailed both of them, and he sent the Hoosiers packing with a 112-110 victory. The Boeheim brothers combined for 53, and Jim Boeheim gets another win. Syracuse moves to 4-3, and they're going to battle Florida State on Saturday for their first ACC matchup. It's a battle of New York in the NBA. It's the Nets. It's the Knicks. Early Eastern Conference matchup in the Mecca. Starting off here, the Knicks looking to get a win. It's going to be Patty Mills, but James Harden, he throws it down hard. Look at the beard celebrate there. That's in the third. Moving on to the fourth, Julius Randle. Step back, easy money, bing bong. Julius Randle puts it in for the Knicks. They move to 91-92. Now, coming up, it's going to be an inbound pass to Kevin Durant. It's all day. You can't give Kevin Durant that much space. It's all day with him. Next possession there, Julius Randle finds outside, Rose to Burks. Burks, bang, all day. Alec Burks, he makes another one, and they take a lead by 2. Now James Harden gets it to KD. What did I just say? You can't give Kevin Durant space. He gives the Nets a 1-point lead there. Now, later on in, it's going to be an inbound pass. Evan Fournier from deep. He puts that one. He gives the Knicks a 3-point lead. Now, the Nets, they make those two crucial free throws, 2.2. Derrick Rose gets to Fournier. The lob, the heave, and it goes off the side of the iron. The Nets, they're going to win this one. They go to 15-6 on the year. The Knicks go to 11-10. Julius Randle, 24 points. And Kevin Durant, 27. James Harden, 34.
I'll tell you what, Jake, as an avid Bucks fan, I was really rooting for the Knicks that day. Really need to see the Nets start getting knocked down a peg or two here. They just couldn't get it done.
Yeah, the Nets, they're a pretty good team this year. Always are, but that group is very good.
Always are, but they'll always lose in the second round. All right, so we're going into this weekend. I know we just had a really, really big sports weekend last week, and a lot of stuff happened, but anything like exciting coming up in this weekend?
Yeah, coming up for the Lakers, they just announced it's the Teddy Bear Toss, the annual Teddy Bear Toss for the Oswego State Lakers men's team. Also, it's the last home game as Deborah Stanley is president. So she's giving out the ceremonial puck drop and the first Laker goal. Everyone come, bring your teddy bears, throw them on the ice. It's for a great cause. So Teddy Bear Toss, Deborah Stanley's last game. There's a lot going on Saturday night here in the Deb.
That's some really exciting stuff happening here in the Deb, and I'm sure I'll be there along with a lot of other students here at Oswego.
Yeah, and the weather this week, how is it looking again?
It's going to be a little warmer for tomorrow, but
still
rainy.
Windy, yeah.
Cooling back down into the 30s for the weekend. So for that game on Saturday, at least it's inside.
Yeah. So icy. Still gonna need your coat. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good news that they put a dome on a dome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, this is our last report for Wednesday Night News, and we wanted to thank our producers and crew for a great semester. And be sure to stay tuned for Madcaps.
Thank you for watching. Have a great night, everyone.
Stay classy, Oswego.